corporations regularly refresh the way that they deliver businesses and their business service. And certainly it was time for the city to revamp how we were operating, in my estimation. Mr. Seabrook very generously came forward with the plan to reorganize, and then moved himself into a position that he was very familiar with. It's what he's done in other communities, and that was taking over the Ken Doherty portfolio. Through that process, we had Ken retiring and Wayne Jackson retiring, so the stage was set for some revamping of how we deliver and how we manage the internal operations at City Hall. And basically, we're proposing to move from 5 directors to 3 commissioners and a CAO, and then realign all the departments under those divisions appropriately. And when I say that, we're putting building, proposing to put building, planning and engineering all under one envelope, and then manage all those services in the in a vertical sort of a way that you come in and look for a building permit. Well, you're going to need something to do with zoning, you go to planning, you need something to do with engineering for stormwater, something, then it all fits together. So it's just a natural thing to do.
So did this idea come from council, or did it come from Alan Seabrook?
Alan Seabrook wrote the report, and he was very pleased to be able to do that and to ensure that it was a reorganization that made perfectly good business sense, and he fit into it perfectly. Ken Doherty had the largest portfolio in the city by way of employees that reported to him, and that was the one that we were going to start a search program. And as we were drafting up the requirements for that, the requirements for the position, it became quite apparent that what Alan was writing was basically a story about himself. It's all the things that he's done in other communities, so it was obvious that he was the man to take that on seamlessly. There's a bunch of major files that are going to be stranded. Even if you brought somebody that had lots of experience from the outside, it's still not the experience from Peterborough. So Alan just seamlessly will move into that position and carry on with those files that are already in place.
So it came, I mean, it's a little distinctive for a CAO to come up with a plan that it moves him sideways, really, doesn't it?
It moved him sideways is a good way of putting it, yes. There's no change in the structure of things per se.
No.
It just aligned the right people in the right jobs. It was an alignment of stars. It really did move everybody into the position where their strengths could really come to the front.
Now, Sandra Clancy has been with the city, what, 33 years?
33 years,
and
yes.
has been an outstanding employee.
Yeah, totally.
But she was about to retire, I thought.
She was due for retirement this year as well, which would have created another difficulty for her. So this gave her the opportunity to express herself in her leadership role under the CAO's designation. She has great organizational skills and certainly outstanding accounting abilities. So she's the right one to lead the transition side of it. She then will move on in 2 or 3 years' time. Alan Seabrook, probably 3 or 4 years at the most, and then Pat Lester is 4 or 5 years away from retirement.
So there are big, just with who then takes over the finance, the treasurer?
Treasurer would fall to probably Richard Freeman would take that on. Not probably, Richard Freeman would be the treasurer of the city of Peterborough.
Because that is a key position. I mean, they're all key positions.
Yeah, you have to have an engineer, and you have to have a treasurer, and you have to have a number of other positions that are filled legislatively, and that's where we have the people in place to do that. This also aligns things for succession planning in a much better fashion. Traditionally when we advertise for jobs, certainly everybody's entitled to apply, but we're not grooming people to fill in positions internally.
Right.
And with this gray tsunami that's coming at us, and I use that phrase very genuinely, over the next decade there's going to be a pile of people that exit the working field, and we're going to have to figure out how best to deal with that as a corporation.